Hello, welcome to the Corner Birds sculpting stream. The aircon in my room broke, so it's gonna take a while for it to get fixed. I have to resort to the ceiling fan, which I don't really want to use because I think it's really noisy. Like, I'm seeing that the mic is picking up some sounds from it. I'm not really sure how it's gonna sound like, but if it's too bothersome, just mute the audio. I was also thinking of like maybe I should take some, like, I shouldn't stream while the aircon is broken, and like I can't do work without aircon and a fan in the room because Singapore is really hot. But I was doing some sculpting yesterday and I just felt like streaming, so it is what it is. So I did some, this is my original sculpt. I've streamed this a few times, I think. Why not turning on? So this is the progress. This person, I just have this for the thumbnail because I don't edit my YouTube thumbnails. So let me just take that out. Yeah, so this is the state of where it is right now. Like that. So it has some defocus happening, that's why there's all these flower petals around. I think it's looking pretty cool. I think my original art is quite different from the fan sculpts that I do because I like dark souls, and I like dark souls. So yeah, but I also like very pretty things. That's why I want to try and make something very pretty for my own stuff. So I'll be working on the skirt today. Why is it? I'll be working on the skirt today. Let me see, where is this? And this is the base. So I've done quite a bit on this. And just for comparison, I have the old skirt, the base mesh from before I sculpted this, so that we can see a comparison of what it was like before and after. So this was before, and maybe I'll just move it aside. So I think there's quite a lot of stuff done to it. So this was before, and I should turn this off. I probably need to organize this at some point. This was before and this after. I'm still not really sure if it's a good change because I realized that I was working too close up, and from far it's not really that visible. But I think when it's rendered like this, I think like the details are more obvious. So I'm just going to see how this goes when I render it in Blender. Yeah, I guess it's quite a lot of difference. If you're not looking at it, the idea that I had was to have some details on the edges like this, and to keep more like empty spaces around. But now that there's a lot of details like this, I'm wondering whether I need to kind of add like some like minor details around the areas near the edges, so that I can blend this to this a little bit better. Like maybe something like that looks better, maybe. I hope that the icon can be fixed soon. I feel like it's probably going to take more than a week to fix the icon because it seems like the problem is pretty bad. But yeah, I hope that the fan is not bothering because it's bothering me. But I'm going to listen to some music and headphones as I work, so hopefully that'll be less bothersome. And to anyone tuning to live stream, I hope that you have a good day. And I hope that I can show you a little bit of how I do the sculpt like this. It's pretty fun. A bit tedious, but the end results are pretty nice. So I think I missed this section here, so I'll work on that first. But before I start, just the basic stuff that I've been explaining in the past few streams. I work with dynamic topology, and there's a tab right here, dynamic topology tab. So I have this enabled all the time. That's just how I do my sculpting. And when that is activated, the Dyne Topo icon will appear here. And if I really dragged it out, it's possible to drag it out to anywhere that you want it to be. So I tend to just keep it around here. And something that I found just a day or 2 days ago was this Planar, like by accident. And I've been using it ever since. So I've used it twice already for like 2 days, and still trying to get used to how it feels, but it's been feeling pretty good. What's this? I should switch this off. So what? I'll just demo it over here. Suddenly a little bit laggy. I think I'll just delete this because I don't need this one anymore. So something that I accidentally found out was this Planar tool. It's one of the default brushes, so you should have it in your Nomad Sculpt if you're using Nomad Sculpt. And by default, it's set to this. So it'll cut into the sculpt this way, which is pretty nice too, actually. Like that. But I was using this by accident, like the invert position. And I was thinking like, oh, this is something that I really like. Do I want to keep this? You know what? I might just keep this. You know what? It looks pretty nice. But maybe I'll do it more at this side. It's a bit finicky because the way the Planar tool works is that it'll push out based on the normals of the face. The normal direction of this surface, I guess. Something like that. So sometimes it will create ridges like this, and sometimes it will be quite smooth like that. I tend to like the ridges, so I think something like this. I like this ridges, so I try to I'll just draw and undo until I get the ridges that I want. Just because I'm not that familiar with what it's doing right now. I haven't used it that much. I just found out about it a day or two ago. So you see, like, I feel like this is too straight, but sometimes something like this is a nice detail too, so I'll just keep it. So I'll just do that like this. Of course, it helps to already have like a base mesh with some variations in the surface, and then I'll smooth it out to add more polygons. Smooth this out. Then sometimes I'll use the crease brush with like a shaky hand. And then depending on what I want it to, I guess this one is based more on intuition and feeling rather than, can't really explain that well on like why I would cut in or like cut out. I'll just do like anything. Why is it so laggy today? Wait, let me check something. Something wrong with my iPad today. It's super laggy. Hey, what's going on? Did it do a software update without me knowing? And why are you so laggy today? It's so crazy how laggy it is. I'm trying to switch off all the apps, but it doesn't want to switch off. Well, my iPad is busted today. You know what, I'm just going to turn it off. And see, it's not even reacting. This is so annoying. So ever since finding that Planar tool brush, I think I've been able to sculpt like better details, and it has helped a lot with my workflow, so it's pretty fun. But this is like the first time that my iPad is. Why is it so warm? What the hell's going on? Well, it's back to normal now. Oh, that was so annoying. Now I can close the apps properly. Yeah, I wonder what the hell was going on with that. So I have Planar, brush, crease, and drag map onto my hotkeys. Actually, that's pretty nice. So sometimes I'll use the Planar tool to like roughly up and turn dynamic topology on. Sometimes I'll use the Planar tool to like just cut really massively like this. It doesn't matter because I can just smooth it out later on. But maybe I should just restart this. Something like this. And then I'll use the fill version to, I don't know, like create all these things. And sometimes I'll use the crease brush to do this. The crease brush is pretty good for creating sharp peaks like that. Although I guess talking while sculpting is like, it's pretty hard actually, like this. I probably would just like start listening to music and stop talking for a bit so that I can focus on this. So that I can sculpt a bit faster too. I think something like this. So I feel like with the Planar tool, it can create these kinds of variations in planes, which I like. And then I'll use the crease brush to, or like the drag tool, to just sharpen the edges, like that. Yeah, so that's kind of like just one of the random shapes that gets created with this blend, this combination of tools. Well, I guess part of like the problem is that every new day I feel like I need some time to orientate myself. So I feel like I'm working a little bit slower right now, regardless of whether or not I'm talking. Sometimes I can use the drag. And something that I learned from the Valentine's Day live stream that I did the other day, where I was creating roses in Nomad Sculpt. So thanks to that practice, I realized that I can do things like this to create yeah, like nice edge details really fast like this. Okay, let me drag this out. Right now I'm over the stage of block-ins. I'm adding details right now, so I'm around 200, but normally if I'm blocking in stuff, it'll be somewhere around here. So now it's 200 like this. I'm also pretty tired because I've been exercising a lot more lately, trying to get fitter and all that, which is really hard for an artist, I guess, like sitting around all day. And Like I'm not that fit relative to a lot of people that I know. But I want to try and get better. Get fitter, I mean. So I hope that eventually I will not be so tired when trying to work out more often. Trying to work out like at least like 4 times a week now. Like I feel like last time I used to only work out like once a week, and that's not really good for progression. But then like now doing it at least 4 times a week, like I do feel for someone who used to be really sedentary, I feel really tired. So I'm just going to slowly adapt to it, be kind to myself, and tell myself that I just need time to adapt. But I'll be tired for like the next few months because I'll want to exercise more often. But then like to build the endurance and like the capacity and the strength, like that really takes a long time. Like I guess especially for girls, like to build muscle is really hard. It's like it kind of takes years to do that. So I'm in it for the long game. So like sometimes drawing like this, where it has the divots like that, it creates a nice variation. And in the past when I was only using crease tool like that, it feels a little bit too clean, I guess. So I want to try and make it messier and more organic. And I feel like the Planar tool is really good for this kind of things. Something like that. Like it creates the sharpness that I like this. I think there's also something about, why is it cutting in? There's also something about oh, like why is it doing this? Has it always been like that? Huh. Did Nomad Sculpt just update or something? I'm a bit thrown off because it seems like I can look inside right now, and I felt like I wasn't able to do this yesterday. What's going on? Wait, why is it doing this? Because if it does this, I can't zoom in like this. It's so warm in here. Let me... What's going on? I don't really like this, so I will disable that. I feel like I'm starting to regret live streaming because it's so warm in the room, and like the aircon just have to break down when the weather is starting to get hot again. I feel like it's probably 30 degrees or something. Feels miserable. Why is it doing this? Like it shouldn't be doing this at all. Like, and why does it decide to do this when I'm live streaming? Why are you doing this? That's so annoying. You know what? I'll just make it a point that I should work like further away. Also because I'm like, you know what, maybe it's because I'm doing the wrong thing of like being too up close while sculpting. Maybe I'm zoomed in way more than yesterday, and that's why it's clipping into the sculpt as I zoomed in. So I guess it's a good thing. Like, it will remind me to just stay at this angle right here instead of going too deep. Yeah, so I like this kind of details that the planar fill creates. Yeah, I guess I'm too zoomed in right now. Yeah, I don't even understand why I'm like, I don't understand why I'm working so close up today. Need to be working here. It feels like the more used I am to sculpting, the more I will like want to go in and add incredible amount of detail, which was kind of an issue for this because like I think this is a little bit too small for the grand scheme of things like that. Like maybe it's too, yeah, I wonder whether it's too much, but I'll just bring it to Blender and see how it goes. I think the details like this looks pretty good. And since I've worked on this section right here with this amount of detail, I think that's fine, but I will make it a point that I will make the details bigger as I go outwards over here to all these things, which I feel like it's feeling a little bit difficult to do that. Just seeing how zoomed in I was when I was working on this. Keep making mistakes. Yeah, I'm going to listen to music. As I work, probably nothing much to add because like even though like these all look very different, they are the same principles apply to all of them. It's just planar, brush, drag, planar, and crease, and like make varying doing like the pushing it in or out at different degrees to hopefully make something look nice. Oh, hi Visual. Tries to reducing zooming speed and camera icon. Oh, I see. That makes sense. What the hell's camera icon? Guess I just try it. Well, that's an interesting way to deal with this. I guess I'm quite happy with how this works, so if that's what you're meaning, thanks for suggesting that. Okay, back to work. I'll probably stream until the battery of this Apple Pencil dies. Just want to... Not really sure how much I can finish today, but I'll try to like make the details bigger here. So hopefully it'll be faster than this. I hope. Yeah, I hope that it will be faster today. And also because like now will be the third day that I'm doing this sculpt, as in like the details for this. And let me push this first before I forget. So hopefully I'll work faster today too. Oh, and I use the smooth tool a lot, especially when I feel like the polygon is too low. It's a little bit, this will be a bit more technical. Oh. Like this will be a bit more technical, but something that I've noticed by working with dynamic topology quite a bit is that it seems like with the smooth tool compared to, how to say, just around the same. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it feels like with the smooth tool I can create, like this is made by the Crease, like this. But like sometimes when I find that the polygon is too low, I'll use the smooth tool to kind of like create more topology like that. I'm gonna undo this because I don't want it there. So like when this is too polygonal, it kind of affects, like let's say if I do the planar here, it kind of makes it act differently, I think. Like at least that's the, maybe like a placebo feeling that I have. So sometimes when it's too blocky, I'll just smooth it out first before I start working on it. Like this. Which part is this? And of course when the polygons are too stretched like this, I'll just smooth it out. Sometimes with very thin meshes too, it's more important to add more like polygons and surfaces like this. The Planar tool doesn't really work that well with such a thin thing like this. So you can see like the orange part is like the back face of the geometry. So I guess I'll just use the drag tool and crease, or like the brush instead. Something like that. Sometimes the brushes that I use just kind of like depends on like what doesn't work. If I know like something's not going to work that well on that surface, then I'll use something that works better. I think that's kind of a lot of the decision making that I do. And then I want to create variations here. But sometimes it feels like, especially with very flat areas, it's going to be pretty flat regardless of the different ways that I draw. So maybe I'll just use the crease tool instead, like that. So like from far you can see like the difference in the flat areas, like the rounded areas, and the sharp. Like something that I like to do with the crease is to do inward, outward, or outward, inward. So you can see like there's a nice, kind of feels like a leaf, I guess. So it creates a nice detail from far like this. And this looks different from what the Planar brush does to the sculpt. And that kind of variation is appealing to me. Because sometimes the idea that I want to achieve would just be like creating variations of the plane, so that when I do the lighting in Blender, the shadows and the lights look good like this. So I think one of the matte caps that I like is this one, because it's easier to see with like the dark areas where the crevice is. So there's something, you can change the tip profile to not get the harsh crease. Oh. I don't really like this part. So maybe I'll try and add some details with the crease like that. Actually, when it comes to the crease tool, I kind of wish that it would be sharper than this. Like, I wish that I've tested it before and it creates a lot of artifacting, but I wish that it can be sharper than this. I feel like it's probably just the algorithm. So I'll just make do with what I have. I think that's why when I found out about this Planar tool thing, and I like to use it with a small brush, I feel like it's creating that sharpness that I like. It's very different from the crease brush or even the brush tool, because I feel like the brush tool is too rounded, and I don't really like to fiddle around with like the existing tools unless I really need to do something. Like, let's say for the crease brush, wait, did I not? Oh, no wonder it's acting so weird. I disabled the lazy rope thing because I prefer to have this freehand look. But I think other than that, I don't really adjust what is already made. Like, I guess if it works well for me, I tend to like the factory settings or default settings. Okay. So I think now it looks better like this. And even though I kind of finished off this way, I think from far it looks intentional enough. So I'll move on to maybe here. Not really sure whether I want to fix this up, because maybe just like this is enough. Maybe something like this is enough. Because if I try to tackle everything, it will take a little bit too long. So I'm just making decisions on which ones I need to really add details to. So like maybe something like this, I'll leave this alone, but maybe I'll add a bit over here. something like this. I think something like this. And then using the barrel roll to push things around like this. And then just drawing random stuff. Probably is enough for this. Probably should add some details here. Doing this very shaky hand stuff with the crease tool. I've realized that it's quite an easy way to add details like this. Okay. And I think, so like the decision making here is that since this is already done, I'll put like the highest density of details here. But what time? Hi B9. Sorry for my brain is like a little bit busted from the heat. What time is it in SG? Wait, let me address the chat first. How do you do big shape changes on a dense mesh if it doesn't have? How do I do big changes? I'll do it over here. Let me find something. That's the thing of wait, addressing. So like the way that I sculpt is I feel like it's probably very different from how other people sculpt. And you can see like some of the areas here is really low poly, right? That's because I tend to start with lower poly first. And I tend to start with like maybe the detail of the dynamic topology pretty low like this. So when I move these things around, or like even when I move high detailed areas, I'm just gonna destroy this for a bit. You can see like the resolution goes down because my dynamic topology is based on the screen. And based on screen means that the closer that I'm zoomed in, the more resolution that will be, and the further I am, the lower the resolution is. So like it took a while to kind of like get my head around that concept, but after a while I got used to it, And so a lot of the times when I'm moving things around, it's just based on the intuition of like let's say for this area here, I feel like, okay, there's not much detail yet, so I can choose to move it around with a high topology like that. But when I feel like, oh, this is getting a bit hard to move, then I'm going to reduce this and move it around with a lower resolution. And if I feel like it's still like hard to, when I feel like it's still hard to manage, then I can just go down super low. And then now the topology is, wait, sorry, it's so slanted. Yeah, so now like the topology is, it's kind of similar to working with subdivisions, I guess. Yeah, that looks nice. So I'm gonna, but this is too low right now. So it's quite a lot of practice of like just moving around here. And the good thing about this though is that I feel like this feels very intuitive. Like I tried the ZBrush for iPad, the Sculpt Crease Pro, and I feel like I can't really understand, like they have two sliders, one for adaptive size and something else, and like I just can't like understand what I'm doing with those sliders. Whereas for this one, I'm like, if I want more topology, I mean more subdivisions, then I go higher. And if I want to be more low res, then I just go lower like that. But that's why I like that there's this option to take this out, because I'm moving this around quite a lot. And based on just like working with dynamic topology for a long time, I feel like when it comes to details, I'll just put it up like here to do the details. And that's just about it. Proxy pose, which makes sense. I think like the ZBrush proxy pose, actually it sounds like multi-resolution, but if you want to use dynamic topology, this will be disabled. So like I don't use multi-resolution because I like to like draw on my sculpt. But there is an option here to do the like go back to low poly to adjust, and let me see. Which I guess reminds me that when I'm working with dynamic topology, I'm pretty conscious that I already like the shape that I'm doing before I like what multi-res does, like before I kind of like subdivide on my own to create more details like this. Like I think at this point I'm not really moving it that much. Like I'm not changing the big shapes anymore at this point because I've already done it. And then let me see. I think for macropads, this one I need to look at. I put a bunch of shortcuts, but I don't remember every single shortcut. I'm trying to like memorize them one by one. Let me see. Let me see this. So far, it's something like this. So this one, let me see. These are just things that I assigned. Well, like I thought maybe it would be cool to have it, but I haven't really used these yet. Yeah, Planar tool, pinch. Also, like my macropad is the aoikyte, which is used for Procreate. Which I really like to travel around with this. It's super light, and it has this like slight angle, and the battery lasts pretty long. So I'm really happy with, and it's pink. Like it's a cute color. So like I really like this purchase, but the problem is that which is also the funny thing where like the problem with this is that I can't assign hotkeys, and so I don't like using this for Procreate, but I like to use this for Nomad Sculpt. But also because of that, I can't change what the buttons here are. But the nice thing about Nomad Sculpt, which I'm really thankful for, is that I can set my own hotkeys like this. So I guess this button right here, I set it to like a focus overall, but haven't really been using it. Then this button right here is to height. So it will be this. Let me find this in the... So if I select and height things, so that's what this one is. Then this is the dynamic topology, and also because I realized that I use this a lot, so command this is to disable the symmetry. And then this is X-ray is really good right now for Nomad Sculpt. That's really helpful, thank you. I'm glad that you find it helpful. So like this is X-ray is pretty cool. So I have it for assign here. And I tend to kind of like assign this based on like what logically works for me. So maybe it's not logically working for you, but so you have to figure out like what kind of hotkeys that you want. But like because dynamic topology is over here, so I decided like so that I can remember it better, that the command of the same button will be used to disable or enable the symmetry here. So there's just like the logic that I go by. And then so like wireframe, X-ray, face group. I haven't really been using face group, so I need to... Yeah, I'm not really sure whether I want that. Then save button is really important. And this one, command save, whatever button this is to turn the painting on and off. Which is, this is helpful because to turn painting on and off is hidden over here. So it's nice to have that as a button instead of like going in here all the time to click on that. Then this one, so like command space is spotlight, which I hate. So I wish that I can disable command space for spotlight in the iPad, but I can't because Apple. But this is brush, this is drag, this is crease because C, this is planar because I realized that I use this a lot, so I've assigned it to this. This one is the invert, like add sub. So this one is cool. And because I don't like it to be, wait, let me see. I think it's this toggle tool shortcut invert. I think it's maybe this one. Is it? No. Yeah, so like in these in like the add sub thing, there's a way to, I would just like switch this on. Like to switch this on, it will like toggle between this as I click. And I don't like to do that. I like to hold it down and disable it, so I switch this off. So no matter how long I press it, this would stay like that. And this is drag. Wonder what this is flatten. I don't really use flatten right now. Probably need to reassign it. Then undo, redo. This is the command key, so I can't assign anything to that. Oh wait, command key will be for smoothing, I guess. Then I don't remember what this button is. And then this button is to, as I hold it, because I have the Apple Pencil Pro, I can adjust like that. So that's really nice. So this is brush size. This is the solo because of the icon there. I think it fits. Because like this way then I can remember the hotkeys better. And then yeah, solo key is really useful to have as a hotkey like that. Especially when you want to work on individual meshes like that. Then gizmo tool is really helpful to have too. And then this one is lit PBR is assigned to this. And I'm not really sure, it's like it feels a little bit buggy, but sometimes it doesn't work, but usually clicking it will revert it back to we'll switch it between matcap and lit PBR like that. So that's really nice. This one, I don't remember what this button is. What button is this? Yeah. Well, I hope I didn't mess anything up in my file. Let me see. Maybe I should just like go back to this. Okay. And then there's something else. Oh, right. If I do this, this is the turntable button, which works better if the scene is not so big. But it's a nice thing to have, turntable. Oh, and with the Apple Pencil Pro, there is there's this squeeze, right? So with the squeeze, I assign it to paint, then command squeeze is to eyedrop, and alt squeeze is smudge. So the squeezing is just assigned to painting stuff. I hope that's helpful. And like, how long do you get on battery sculpting? Huh. For battery sculpting, I don't really remember, but it's a decent amount of time. And normally I don't have a lot of apps open when I'm sculpting. I'll try to close as much as possible. But I think based on my previous live stream, the pencil died like after 3.5 hours, I think. So like the battery kind of like just depends on like how long this Apple Pencil lasts, I think. So maybe, but I feel like for doing work, the iPad lasts for more than 4 hours, I think. But normally, because the iPad, you can set it to optimize battery health, so it will be at 80%. So normally I would just, like set this to, I would just like plug in all the time, because I don't really want to like think about my iPad dying. Like I'll have a portable charger and just like plug it in. And then have you ever? No, I haven't sculpted swing skin. Brush. Yeah. Oh, turntable sculpting while having turntable enabled. I haven't thought about that. Maybe there's something on the wish list to do. Thanks for all the cool suggestions, by the way. And thanks for tuning into the stream. Now I need to remember, how do I switch this off? See, like it still takes a while for me to to remember my hotkeys. Oh, actually, it reminds me of something that I do too with dynamic topology. When I have all these details right here, and I want to move them around, and I don't want to mess all this thing up, I'll disable dynamic topology and move things around like that. So the details will still be intact this way. So like right now I realize that this area is quite straight. This is quite straight. So I'm going to disable dynamic topology and just like move it a bit like that. So that is also one of the ways that I do like big geometry movements like this. Something like that. Ah, my god. What the hell? Let me just switch off these because I don't need these right now. So yeah, that's one of the ways that I move things about. But of course, because my overall shapes are kind of really settled, I'm not going to like move that much, but I can if I want to. And then yeah, let me think, where was I think I want to keep this, so I'm just going to make sure that symmetry is not on. Okay. Also, I think like my ideal macropad would be something like this, but with like custom hotkeys. Yeah, because like some of these buttons are Command B or something, like Command something, and it means that I have one less hotkey to use. Actually, I want to see. Yeah, I feel like I probably want to have one of this assigned to this eventually, but I still don't really know what I want to, like how I want to do it. Sometimes too, when I feel like it's too lumpy and I don't want to keep the lumpiness, then that's when I will go down and smooth out like that. It will remove the lumps. Then go back up. Let me see. But yeah, like this is a really different way of sculpting compared to using like subdivisions, multi-res. Sometimes I'll push in. Sometimes I want to exaggerate the ridges, so I'll push this in like that. It's pretty messy, but it does the job. I think this looks quite interesting. And then similar to the roses that I made the other day, I'll just do that to create a little bit of variation and move on in life. Let's go to the next one. So like with the crease tool alone, I feel like it's too clean. So I'm going to make it kind of like a little bit messy with the Planar tool, like that. Like just doing that will create a lot of variations that I like. Like free details, I guess. And then shaky hands. Shaky hands. Shaky hands. I feel like working too close again. Should rest this one. It's quite at the edge. Because I need to do something about this. This too straight. I need to move it about. I guess something like this is actually enough. And I'll do the same for this. Sometimes, like, when I'm working on the sculpt, it becomes a bit hard to keep track of which areas I've not touched yet. That we need to like go back and forth all the time. And like right now I'm not really thinking that much, but I am constantly reminding myself to zoom out right now, just because I don't want to like make the mistake of adding too little details. So something like that is fine. And I do want to work faster, so I'll try to add less details. Add bigger details like this. Something like that. Just look at the bigger picture like this. feel like because the crease tool is really clean, I'm going to just use the Planar tool to create these weird shapes so that from far it looks more detailed like that. It's not really giving what I want. Maybe I'll go in. Sometimes, like, if it's not doing what I want, then I'll test the invert. And then I go back in. It's not working. Use a different brush. Maybe like that. Oh, that's nice. I'll keep it. Then I'll use the drag tool to squeeze stuff about like that. Make things sometimes just making things sharp like this is enough to, like that, is enough to finish something. Finish something? I mean, like, let me make this sharper. It's enough to make it look more refined. Instead of like adding more details, just add more sharpness to it. Something like that. This one is really... I don't want to focus too much on this section right here because it's oh, very handy. Hi B9, going to sleep. Oh, it's nighttime and where you are. I hope that you have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. I have a Huion one, I think. I've seen the Huion one before, and yeah, it looks cool. I already have this though. Why is this so slanted? Yeah, I already have this, so I'm going to stick with this. And it works really well for Nomad, but yeah. It's nice that you have the Huion one too. Okay. So because this one's inside, I'm not going to do much because that way I can focus on the other more visible places. But I do want to fix this low poly area like that. And now I just go in like this. Sometimes it does things that I wouldn't expect, which is really nice, like this. Didn't expect that to happen, but I really like it. And then if it's too straight, the drag tool is your friend. So just smooth things out like this. Maybe I'll do like a crease kind of thing. Like, why not? Something like that. It's cool, right? Because I can't have the same details going over and over again. Then this way. can get it done faster. Something like this. I think this looks nice. Not really sure if sometimes just pushing things and like squeezing things around will create the sharpness that I want, and that's enough for what I need. And then I don't really need to touch it anymore. And also just make sure to check the other angles, make sure that they look good. I think this is done. I'll do the same for this. Something like this maybe. Shaky hands. Shaky hands so that it looks more organic, like freehand drawing style. What's this? Oh, this is the leg. So her legs are here. That's fine. Maybe I'll push this up then. I think this is good enough, so maybe just add a bit more like that. Maybe like this. It's enough. Maybe for this I'll just add some sharpness like that. Shaky hands. So that's enough for that. Because it's deep inside. Maybe I'll clean this up a bit. Sometimes I don't like to end things too symmetrically. So I'll extend this. And then that's about it. Maybe add this. And because it's a straight line from this angle, I'll rotate it a bit. And starting to get the hang of my sculpt again, so it's a bit easier to explain what I'm doing right now. I think right now I don't really know what I want to do with this part, so when I don't know what to do with a section, I try to work on the areas where I feel like I have an idea what to do. So I'll work on this area first. It's quite a big section and I want to speed things up. I'm going to be a little bit more zoomed out as I work on this, and I think that's a good size. To work with. Something like that. This looks nice, so I'll keep this. And also exaggerate it so that it's more permanent, like this. I guess this is a good. I can move on to maybe this one. Maybe I'll do this spiral effect again over here, like that. Sure, I forgot to shake it, so I'll go at it again. And I don't like things to end at the same point, so I extended this one this way. So, see, because I kind of like flashed out this side, and I know what I wanted to do with this one, then I extended up this way. Suddenly this area is done, like it's solved. So like, if you get stuck at a sculpt, sometimes a good solution is to just find another spot and meet in between afterwards, because that way it will save a lot of time instead of like feeling really stuck in one area all the time. I think this is pretty good. So I think this is too straight. Because I want to make this thinner, and usually the easiest way is to just do this. Just going to remove this. Actually, this works in my favor because it's quite a big area from the side view. So like from the side I can see this, but it's giving a lot of texture. So it works well in my favor like that. Like happy accidents always happen when sculpting without a goal. I think that's good. I think maybe I'll just do the same this way. I guess at some point this is a little bit like quite repetitive and a bit boring, but the end result will always shine. Like sometimes I feel really impatient too doing this because like it's just the same thing over and over again, even though I'm doing different shapes and patterns at different areas, and it does feel like quite a lot to go. That's why like I'm constantly reminding myself right now to stay pretty far out. This is nice. Keep it. The only consideration, what the hell is this? The only consideration that, other consideration that I only keep in mind is to make sure that this area blends in with this. So the amount of details here should gradually become bigger and bigger. So like this area right here is a little bit too not in between. So that's something to fix. Maybe something like this. Something like this. I guess I'll need to add a bit more detail in this section. I think something like that for now. And shaky hands. Then this way, there's like, I guess with the blend of the big shapes and this small shape, it matches this area better with minimal effort. So now I can move on to something else. Then shaky hands. Remember to save. So something like this. Something, maybe I'll push this in. Looks like a crescent moon. I don't know whether I like that. But I'll just keep it first. And then do this. Shaky hands. Invert, invert. I'm also keeping in mind negative shapes. So like this is considered like positive shape details. The negative shapes will be like all these blank spaces. So just making sure that they also look interesting. Because they are equally as important as the details. And I think this way of like trying to find a way to keep the blank spaces as blank as they can without it being too, without it being too like empty. And I think a way to do that is to let some details blend out like this. So I think something like that. But I guess I'll just sharpen this edge a bit like that. Gee, that's a bit too much. Maybe with a light touch, just something like that. Is it working out? Kind of looks like a leaf now though. So I wonder whether I want to just extend this out like that. Okay, so now it's better. I'll move on to this. Not really sure what I want to do yet for the back side or like the sides of the skirt. So I'll just wing it. But I know that this will be blank. Need to make sure that this one is sharp on the edges so that it looks cleaner. I'll keep this as it is, although it's a little bit too similar to this, so I'll just adjust it a little bit. And not really sure how this came about. So I'll remove that. This one's quite polygonal, so to smooth it out, I'll use a like around 100% to just lower it a little bit. Just enough to keep the creases and the details that I've already added to it. Something like this. Let me just smooth this out while I'm at it. This one is quite high res, so I'll leave it alone and blur out the others. Because right now the resolution that I'm doing is like lower res than this area that I've drawn. So I'm not going to blur this out because I'm just going to lose details. But these areas that are so low poly, I'll just... It's also kind of like a short break because sometimes doing things like this feels a little bit taxing. Plus, like, talking about it is also quite taxing, I guess. So I'm just like giving myself a short break before... Let me blur this out. Before I go back to working with 200%. Sometimes working on straight line. Let's shift you up a bit. Sometimes working on different areas will help to keep up my motivation, so I'll do that. That's also one of the ways where I maintain my motivation levels. Work on a very different area. I think because this is the edge of... Like, still not really sure what I want to do with this yet. But I do want it thinner so that it looks more like cloth. So maybe I'll just be aggressive with destroying some volume. I'm also quite mindful of how thick the geometry is, so that I don't clip into the back face. Maybe something... It would be nice if I can get some nice details while doing this though. Maybe something like this. Something like this is nice too. What do I want to do with the back side? Maybe I want it to be more like this. then that means I'll go in with the crease tool to sharpen things. I want to exaggerate this crease here, so I'll do that. And then shaky hands. Maybe go down underside. It's a bit too straight, but it's on the other side. And then alternate drag tool. Something like this. And because this fabric is floating around, it's kind of like more important to make sure that it looks good in all angles compared to the front, because the front is kind of like pasted on the surface like that. And I think this size for the detail is pretty good for me, so I'll keep that. Nice thing about dynamic topology is that this shape is not really final yet, but I just want to like cut into it, and I can do that quite easily like this, and then because these two are quite together, I just do this. Okay. Maybe I need to just use the crease brush to create a sharp edge. I think this looks nice. I like details like this, so I'll try to exaggerate it. Sometimes just pushing things around will make it quite defined, and then that's enough to give the patterns that I want. Haven't been using the Planar tool, so maybe I'll Planar tool a bit here. Planar tool. Although it's not really giving me what I want. Oh, I think that's not too bad. Something like this. Things looking quite nice. And it's going to end up there. So don't really want to do that much here. Shaky hands. And maybe I wonder what I want to do here. This is not bad, and I'll just push it further. Something like this. Then I can maybe flatten something like this. Because this ends over here with like the idea of the cloth creasing. I'll add a bit more details on this side. Then this way you'll feel more like it's interacting with, I guess, the elastic band. And I don't really know what I want to do with this, so I'll just use the drag tool to create some ambiguous forms. I mean, this is also the back side, so it shouldn't really matter that much. So something like this. Something like this looks good. It's very minimal. But that's the job, like this. Then I'll move on to this side. I feel so miserable to be warm. So I'll do something like this. Do something like this so that it will blend this section to this one. And so I go with the crease like this. I want to sharpen this so that it looks more polished. I don't really like how this divot is near the center point, so I'll move it up like that. Actually, I don't really know whether I like this. Okay, now I like it. Let's clean up this section. Maybe just using the drag would work better. It's almost done. I think I'll add some details here that doesn't quite connect to this. But it kind of does. Something like this is pretty good. Because like whenever I can just add very simple details, I want to try do that to save some time to work on other areas. Kind of like how when this one looks a bit simple, instead of adding more details, I'm just going to like squish things around or like rotate things around, and now it looks better. You know, I think I'll just something like this. Sometimes just squeezing things and creating sharp lines is enough. So now this is done. Not really sure what to do here, but maybe the same. Or maybe I just leave it alone first. Maybe I'll do something like this on other areas. I don't really know what to do with this shape. Maybe I'll just shaky hands. Maybe just maybe like that, because I just want to create some sharpness to, like, this will be kind of like blended in, but then it'll taper off into something sharper. Then this way it will look more intentional. Yeah, I think something like that. I feel like my brain's already quite busted. Not sure whether my brain will, like my head will run out of juice before my Apple Pencil. So I'm just going to do like more autopilot right now. This looks good. I just need to taper it a bit. Something like that. Sometimes on this kind of shapes, you do like this, you'll create a spiral effect. Which will give a nice variation to a really flat design. think something like this. Something else that I'm wondering about is sometimes I'll trigger this, the thing that causes the objects to be highlighted in purple. I'm not really sure where it is though. Maybe it's this. Let's double tap on background. This part is quite low poly, but I feel like as long as I can add enough resolution and push things around like that, then I think it will look complete like this. Without me doing much, just using wherever I have. It's not too bad. And this way I don't need to work on this too much. I think something like that. Trying to figure out how I trigger that thing all the time, because I don't really like it. But sometimes it's a little bit hard to know like what I'm doing. So I don't even know what that action was. And I don't even know like how it's triggered randomly. Like sometimes this looks really low poly, but I want to keep the details. So I'll zoom in and sharpen, increase the resolution for this. And now from far, it looks like intentional detail. So I did the same for this area right here. Make sure that I don't destroy the details that I created, so that it becomes part of the design. But I don't want this part, so let's just remove that a bit. And these two are ending at the same place. So with a shaky hand, I'm going to do this. Shaky hand. Probably need to just focus on this. Oh, this was so low poly. I guess I haven't worked on this section. So I'll just add details here and there. I don't really want to keep this kind of details, so I'll blur it out at the lower resolution. No, it's 5:45. I guess I'll take a short break because it's starting to feel like going insane. So I'll take a quick toilet break. Let me just finish this first. Just a bit too thick, so I'll just squeeze it like that. I don't really like how this looks right now. Now looking from far, I think it's okay to keep this as it is, because like one of the ways that Georgie. Hello. Thanks for coming in. Not sure whether you're still in, but how are you? Okay, I feel like I really need to take a break. It's like I'm losing my mind right now. It's too straight. I'm just going to write here, I guess. Okay. I'll just put this here and take a short break so that I can regain my sanity. Okay, I'm back. Now I'll try to go a bit faster. Let's trying. Seems like the crease tool on the outside is working well for me. So I'll do just that. I'll just I'll do these kind of things. Sometimes a big brush for crease kind of acts like pinching. Oh, and like I'm using the invert too, because now by default crease is like that, right? But because I like to use it to draw, I tend to keep it on the inverted form. So I'm going to move this. And just do like this. Because the most important thing is not having straight lines for me. So something like this works pretty well, I think. And just keep moving on. Maybe like this. I don't really know yet. But this way I'll be working a lot faster. And sometimes I'll use the planar brush. Even something like this is pretty nice. That reminds me of making wautier or like wontons, like crimping the edges like this. And then this one's a little bit too even for me. I'm not sure whether I want to like, maybe if I do this, then it's less straight. And then I want to make it look thinner, like less inflated, so I will cut it like this and also make it sharper. So I think that's good enough for that side. Sometimes working on S-shaped curves like this is quite fun because I can just do like random drawings like that. And then it's done. And that's nice. See, like it's such a big difference, like just from this to this. Because it's a little bit hard to use the crease brush on a thinner mesh. so I tend to be more careful. Like I use a smaller brush size, something like this, and this is super thick. I feel like I will need to adjust it first. But then this is on this. So probably I'll make it like this. And then if I go up like this, then I can move. But the crease, using a crease on the thick area is a bit time consuming. So I'm gonna use the Planar brush and be more aggressive with this. I feel like I kind of have some trouble with the edges of like thin meshes. Like, I guess it's a little bit, how to say, it's just scary. Like, it's not about it being scary, but I just feel like I can't control it that well. And then I think in the future, if there's something that I want to do, would be, I guess, to learn how to make cloth thinner and learn how to, I guess, just learn how to manage sculpting with thin meshes. So like now this whole thing is done, but I guess I want to add these kind of things too, especially this edge right here. So that's what I would do. The other thing with working on the edges is I keep forgetting to click on the edge to rotate around. Like I'll click around here and then the pivot of the camera is quite wacky. So that's something else I don't like about working on the edges. There's something like this. Although this two now looks too similar, so I'll just make this smaller so that it doesn't match this instead of changing it too much. Now right now this looks pretty flat, so I'm just gonna go in maybe with a planar brush. Like the crease brush wasn't really working out for me. Actually, the planar brush is not really working out for me either. Something like that. I don't want it to look so rounded. Maybe like this. And then using the drag brush to very small size to like crimp this. Crimp. Like, I guess for now this is fine. You know, I will just flatten this out. It's a bit distracting. Yeah. Maybe I'll flatten this too. And then I'm not really feeling this right now, but maybe once it connects up here, so maybe I'll just start working on this part. And then if I do this, reason why I start with this now because I want to try and connect this too while I'm thinking about it. And as usual, I don't really know what it's going to look like, but since it's like some cloth stuff, I want to try and like make it flow up somewhere. So maybe this is a good place to go up. Can be here too. Doesn't really have to make sense as long as it looks good. It's good enough. And also this way it makes it look less round. Just helps to make it sharper. And then same thing. I want this to kind of connect like this. Then it creates a flow this way. I think when it comes to something like this, it's it is helpful to have a background in drawing on 2D, and like don't really have to necessarily be good at drawing people or whatnot. Like my knowledge of anatomy is still quite shit, but I guess like try to focus on, if you draw with the focus of doing things that looks good, it does help. I think it helps a lot with sculpting organically like this, because like I'm also quite clueless to what exactly I want this to look like, and like this was just thought up of in the spot like this. So I guess like intuition is pretty important for this. And also because there's a lot of details going on. Like there are many times when, like, if you learn 3D animation and 3D modeling with that background, especially for stylized things or realistic sculpts, then yeah, you probably want to start learning on how to do like a 2D front and side top view character sheet or design sheet. But then, so like I was doing that for a few years, and I never got into sculpting that way. And the way that I got into sculpting is to just do freehand stuff like this. So I'll say like just the on and off drawing a lot really helps. So I like the shape like this. So I'm gonna keep this. Do I want to keep this thickness? I guess this look thinner, but I also want to keep this part visible, so I don't want to push it underneath, even though it's making it look quite thick right now. So I'll push the top down if that's the case. But because I want to keep this silhouette, I'm only pushing this part down. And I like this, but because it's a flat area, it gives the illusion of, I mean not the illusion, but it makes this part really thick. So to fix that very quickly, I'll just add a crease on this flat side like this. And maybe shaky hands, keep forgetting. Something like this. Something like this. I really don't know. feel like maybe it doesn't really matter. Okay. As long as the big picture looks good. And then switch off dynamic topology so that I can work on the big areas like this. Man, I should have charged the Apple Pencil while I was on the toilet break. Then making sure negative shape that this section is not the same as this. So maybe I'll need to move this down a bit just to keep it safe. Like that. And it seems like, let's see, it goes like this. I should work on this first. I forgot to remove this. I guess it's fine. I guess it's handy and I can just remove it next time. It seems like C1. Not really sure whether I want to do anything here. So maybe I'll focus on this part. Should I just focus on this part? Planar tools really nice. I'm glad that I found this while working on this project because it's pretty fun and it's very fast. Like this, and then inverse it to go at this. Just be like quite aggressive at it. Although now this shape is a bit ugly. This part is pretty empty right now. Maybe if I do this kind of thing. But then now this sounds a bit awkward here. So maybe I should smooth this out. I think something like this. So like, cause when I far away, it destroys the detail, but I want to keep it, so I'll go closer to it. Right now there's a lot of straight lines I need to destroy. This one's also quite straight, destroy it. Then I'll go back to this. Don't know what to do with this. Do I want to... Like, does it make more sense to push it in? I'm just choosing wherever that looks better. Like, I don't really know what I want. Wherever that looks better. I didn't realize how unaesthetic this section is. But I guess I want it to like flip over. So I'll do that. So I'm gonna try, let me see. But then it looks quite awkward right now. Is it always like that? Let me see the old one. So it looks like, yeah, I guess. Oh, I guess something like that looks good. Maybe like this, and flatten. So something like that works better. Yeah, I think that's fixed now, so I can focus on just like adding some shaky lines like that. And then I like this, so I'll exaggerate it, and this way it'll look cleaner too and more intentional. Just creasing away to create some nice flowy lines. I'm not pressing really hard too, because if I press too hard, then, like, let's say I'm pressing really hard, you know what, keeps not working when I don't want it to work. It will affect the backside too. It's looking nice right now, and just making sure that it's not very out of place compared to this. So this one, this one's a bit too round. But I want it to kind of overlap each other. So that's what. Something like this. Although right now this is a little bit too close together, so I just push it down a bit. It's a bit like OCPD nature, but now it looks a bit better. Then just exaggerate this plane like this. Ever since getting used to the drag tool, I don't really use the move brush anymore, this one. I guess initially I was using the move brush to do like a overall adjustments, but once I got used to, oh, it's dinner time. Once I got used to like moving things very slightly with the drag tool, I just don't really use the move brush anymore. And it seems like even on this new iPad, when I think if there's a lot of vertices, it's also quite laggy. Probably because there's kind of like a soft fallout with the move brush. But yeah, I really like the drag tool, so I'm just using the drag tool all the time. So now this is, let's sharpen this a bit so that it looks neater, and then just do this so that I don't need to add other stuff. This will be the end of the stream. I think I'm quite a bit done. Feels like there's still so much to do. But I'll try to move faster. It's great that I did this last time because I think this looks pretty nice. And it will be a good reminder for me to make sure that I stick to this level of detail. But so let me keep it. I'm gonna keep it. This area is still quite empty, but I think it will be quite a fast one because this part is done. And I think the next time I work on this, I'll try and put this amount of detail onto like different parts. Then that way it will integrate this area better. Instead of like putting this really, like changing this into a really high detailed area. Like the way that I blend elements together is to, like let's say this section right here, right now it looks out of place because it's the only one there. And it's also kind of like in the middle of nowhere. But in the future, I'll put this on various places. And that's going to integrate this better. But yeah, actually it's a little bit really standing out right now. But it was just a test. But at least this part is done now. And if there's any minor fixes that I need to make, I think it doesn't matter because I'm going to paint over the renders anyway. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's about 9 sections. Sometimes I like to keep the old base mesh, like a copy of it, so that I can see what changes I've made just looking at it. It also feels satisfying, I guess. But I think something that I should do next time would be to integrate this blank section better with this. And because this is the first time that I'm trying to consciously like not put details everywhere, because I have a problem of like putting details at every single blank space as I can. So right now one of my issues is that I think the blank space is not really integrating as well as I want it to be. But hopefully the next time I can do that. Thank you for tuning in to this stream. I'm so tired. Maybe I'll work on the night rain sculpt next time, because for the night rain sculpt it's going to be like I'm copying existing concept art, so it should be less taxing on the brain maybe. I hope that this one turns out well. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next